Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, then welcome to the channel. Okay, so today I am looking at this SG bass guitar, which a kind gentleman gave me with a whole bag of bits, and we're going to be putting this back together and getting it working as a whole bass again. I do believe this is a Columbus from the 70s, and the previous owner has put all these cool stickers on it, all different blues guys on there, and thank you all for your input on helping me decide to keep this as it is. What I am going to do is I'm just going to finish off some areas, so where it's blank in there, I'm going to finish that off in there, and add a few more bass players on there, because it is a bass guitar as well. The person that did this and who donated this to me told me that he just simply downloaded some pictures and printed them off and stuck them on there and varnished over it. So that's real cool. The neck is going to get a sand down. It would have had a binding on there at some point, which is not there anymore. So it does have this kind of uncomfortable kind of lip there. So I'm going to see about rounding that off a little bit. But yeah, it's going to be a fun project, so I'm really looking forward to getting this one done. So I'm just googling some bass players, and I'll print off a few of these, I think, in black and white, and take it from there. I've cut out the pictures, which look pretty cool, all different sizes, and blah blah blah. So for the horn here, where it's blank now, I'm thinking I can put a little Jack Bruce in there, and I've got a little Stevie Ray, Double Trouble, in there, so I can stick that in there and then trim it up, and that should solve that blank space there. I might have to print some more off. I'll do a similar thing in this horn here to try and cover that, and any blank space there is around the guitar and here as well. So I've stuck those down there, which will need to be left to go off. And what I'll do to add a bit of yellowing to it is rub some coffee over the top once it's dried, and then trim that off. I've added a few more pictures on, which are glued on and drying as we speak. So while they're drying off, I'm going to go down and look at the neck. I can't trim them up until it's completely dry. There are a few more little gaps I want to do, but I'm going to leave it at that for the minute and continue with that a little bit later. The neck has issues with the fact that the binding's now missing. So instead of adding a new binding, I'm going to sand that round and take this finish off and refinish it. Or leave it bare, I don't know, we'll see. It's got some damage on the fretboard, but I'm not too worried about that because it's going to have that vintagey kind of used look anyway. So I just want to see how resilient that's going to be, maybe with a bit of 80. Got this old piece here, it's not in a great shape, but we'll see what happens here. And the finish is coming off quite easy, so that's alright. So I've actually found it easier to use the square file just to take the wood back and then sand it after to make it smooth. I've got most of the paint off with the 40 grit sandpaper. I'm going to get in all the little bits with the Dremel. Had to take the stickers off the back, unfortunately, but that's okay. I might just take it all off, I don't know. I might leave the front, let's see. I'll see how we go. Alright, this isn't actually a real Dremel tool. This is a similar thing by Parkside. Much cheaper and much more superior, I think. Link in the description if you want to go check it out. Well, here's all the bits and bobs that I can find that I believe go with the guitar. There's a couple of bits missing, but I'm sure I can manage to put it together with bits I've got around the workshop. Some of the hardware like this has been hand painted, but I think as I'm going for a vintagey kind of look, because it is old and vintagey, I might scuff these up a bit and just make them look worn, if that makes sense. What I've started doing here is I've started trimming off the excess paper. It's not 100% dry yet, but it's dry enough to on focus for me to start trimming it around. And then I'll put some more PVA just around there to seal it, let it go off, probably overnight, and then I'll try and age the paper a little bit. Although it is going greenish on its own, I quite like that. It's looking quite cool. So what I'm doing here is I'm just putting some glue around the edges and then just pushing it sort of behind the paper where it's overlapping, like that, and then just bringing it back over to stick those edges nice and firm like so. And you can just wipe off the excess a little bit with a damp rag. Yeah. And that'll be solid when that dries. The glue I'm using is this. It's Gorilla Glue, wood glue. Right, there's a few more spots I want to do. There's a gap here which I'll want to address. There's this here, and possibly the front of that as well. I'm happy how the horns have come out now, much better than being black. Apart from that, I'm pretty alright with it. I think it's looking pretty cool. So I'll just see if I can find a picture I can do those bits with, and then I'll get back into, oh, there's a gap there. Could probably do with putting something on there. Although it doesn't stand out all that much, but it will irk me, I expect. Et voila! So I've covered the whole guitar now, all the blank spots that I could find, with various images, bass guitars, and bass players. There's quite a few bass players on here now, and stuff. So yeah, I'm a lot happier with how it all looks now. On the back as well. So that's just all drying off. But it's okay to take it to the workshop, and I need to figure out how it all goes back together. So let's go do that. Okay, on the bench. So this is a very unusual guitar. Very retro. So these must be the pickups. Doesn't look like it wants to fit. Yes, it does. So that goes there. We've got this one. Again, wire goes through. I think there's a hole there. Yeah, there's a hole there. So that's going to go in there. And you've got this thing. Looks like it goes there. Goes there. Okay. So that goes like that, right? So this bridge situation is very weird. I'm figuring that screws down to there. These, I have a gap which looks like would go in there, although it doesn't want to go in there, but I should imagine they do. That one's just a bit tight. Yeah, there you go. And then that would screw into there. So the string would go hook into there, up through there, and then you've got this metal bridge there. Very strange. So I should imagine that's it. This is all the electrics to to go in it. And that's it, I think. There's a few knobs missing, a couple of these are broken anyway, so I'll be putting different knobs on it, I expect. Okay, this black hardware has been hand painted. I want to scuff it up a bit. Just a bit old. More like it's worn out and weathered. I mean, I could carry on and take all the black off, but I quite like that. So all I'm doing now is I'm just cleaning everything up with a little bit of white spirit, just to clean it all. And then you can see what it actually looks like. The neck's come out pretty good. I'm really happy. You can't tell that there was a ridge there at all now from where the beading would have been, apart from that little bit there which I've left. But it's on the underside, so you're not really going to see it. There's a little bit there on the top side as well, but you probably won't see that really. It's not going to affect the playing. The headstock I did actually chop off because it had some damage in this corner and it had been sanded and it was all just wasn't straight. So now it's got a straight headstock. But that's okay. It looks like it's been repaired here, or in the factory maybe. There's a separate piece of wood glued on there and there's a little bit glued in there, but it's fine. I'm really happy how that's come out. But I'm going to polish these frets up before we go any further. Alright, a little bit of polishing compound and off we go. All on this fretboard, I don't know if you can see, but there's like black paint, or what's left of black paint, where it's, I don't know why it would have black paint on it, but it looks like it's been painted black and then someone's stripped it off, or I don't know, but it's got black paint. So I'm going to use the buffing tool just to remove the last bits that they didn't manage to get off, just to clean that up. Now this is dry, I'm just adding a little bit of coffee, so like a really strong mixture of coffee to these the new bits that I've put on, just to help them blend in a little bit. They won't blend in exactly, but it will just add that kind of yellow kind of ness to them. Don't want to overdo it, don't want to soak them too much. It will just age them a little bit to make them blend in just slightly before I varnish it. That's all. There you go. They don't stand out as much as they did before. So I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to let that dry and then I'm going to varnish it. And what I've done here with the neck is I've used the same coffee, what I've got left, and I'm just putting coats and coats on the neck, which is going to darken it up real nice. Yeah. And with this you can do as many coats as you like. It soaks in and it dries quite quickly. Probably 5 minutes or so between each go. And obviously the more you do it, the darker it's going to become. It will stain your fingers though, so if you don't want your fingers stained, then wear gloves, but I'm not too bothered. And literally just keep rolling in. So what I did is I put like 2 teaspoons of coffee granules, instant coffee granules, in a cup, and then a tiny bit of water. So you just get a really strong mix, and you can just keep going and going with that as many times as you like. It's a good old varnish. This is acrylic varnish that I use on all my guitars, and we're just going to plaster it on here to seal it all up. Yeah, you know the drill. Right, let's get these tuners on. I've rubbed all this down with some wire wool. It's really smooth and it's lovely. Loving that. Neck's come up real good. Happy. So I'm just going to put this together now. And they go in there. Like that. Very tight. Indeedy. And that goes like that. Does it? Yes, like that. Yeah, baby. There we go. Right, so here's the wiring. So we've got obviously tone, volume. The ones with the capacitors on, which we will do, are the tones. So that's obviously the red or the pink now, which goes to the humbucker at the front, which will be the bottom hole. Why is it so tight? It's the stickers that are stopping it coming out, I think. Yep. Just the red one and its tone will be the bottom one. A wafer. You put a wafer on. And that's gonna nut. Just manipulate the hole. Nice. And then the jack sockets. Splendico. Okay, there's two holes to feed the wires. Pickups go through here, so let's do the red one first because that's the longest. Shoving in the hole. Oh, come out the wrong hole. As one would say, there must be another hole. There's actually a hole down here as well. Another hole. So that's that hole. Ah, it's terrible when you get the wrong hole. So you could use a block connector, you could solder them together, do whatever you want to do. So I decided to test it as I go, so I've touched the wire. Pickup works. Okay, all pickups working. Splendid! So we'll put that back. That goes there. No nickel. So the only knobs I've got are these silver ones, which won't look out of place. Obviously not the original knobs, but at least it matches the pickups.